is actually rebuild our buyer campaign. So we do have our buyer lead campaign. There's a lot of individuals that use that campaign, but they're using it in the legacy system. And it's just really creating it again in the new platform, so you can, you can actually tweak it a little bit and have stopping clauses. So the stopping clauses is really great because you don't have to remember to stop the campaign. I don't know about you guys, but I know for myself, I've had people on campaigns and you forget to stop them, and it just makes you look silly sometimes when you're reaching out and saying things that like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, and they're like, we were just talking to you yesterday. So things like that. So the stopping clauses are definitely beneficial. I am just going to stream us live here on Facebook. Let me just get the link to invite people, but I'm not sure why. There we go. And then we'll there we go. Perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, you guys, so that you can see my screen and the CRM system and so on and so forth. So with the agent locator and our system, let me just turn off my camera. I don't feel like I need that on anymore. We have those email campaigns that are built into our system nonetheless. So when we go into a lead, some of you may see it. So more of you will see this if you guys do have branded websites. If you don't have branded websites, you may not be seeing these. But when you have a campaign under the campaign section, you see legacy campaigns. These are campaigns that are built on our previous platform. I encourage you not to use these campaigns, but recreate them in the new platform. So you definitely have that capability to do so. All the emails are there, plus you have more control out of those campaigns as well. So anyone that is in here, I am allowing people to talk. So if you guys do want to talk, just unmute yourself. If you're not going to say anything, just keep it muted. That way, if you guys are having any background noise or anything like that, everyone's not listening to the chaos that may be happening in your home, because I know it happens in mine from time to time. So what you're going to do to rebuild the campaign is go over here on the left-hand side, and you're going to go to the campaign template editor. All the campaign emails are there for that buyer lead campaign. So all you're going to do is simply click on create new in here. And we're just going to call it. So this is, you can just even call this whatever you want, but I'm going to call it like new buyer lead campaign. Now, there's two different execution types. In this case, we are going to use relative date because it's relative to when we're adding this person to the campaign. If it was a fixed date, that means each action in that is a fixed date. Doesn't matter when you add the person to the campaign, each action, if you set like this email goes out on, June 5th, this email goes out on, July 5th, things like that, where you're specifying an exact day that email would go out. So I kind of refer to a fixed date as similar to like a holiday campaign, where certain holidays always fall on the same day. Doesn't matter. Now, you do have stopping clauses. You can have stopping clauses for the entire campaign. You can also have stopping clauses for the individual actions. So when it comes to the entire campaign, really, I would only use things like garbage or if they're sold, essentially, because I would prefer that the actual individual actions have their own stopping clauses, because then what ends up happening, depending on what that email is, because you guys may want to build this out even further, But what that does is if there's a stopping clause on that specific email itself, it will just skip over that email and continue through the rest of the campaign rather than just the whole campaign stopping itself. So how I refer to this is kind of like if you have an email as part of this, for example, that is for somebody to get pre-approval, then if they have a tag, for example, that you put on it that they've been pre-approved, it would just skip over that email. It would continue the campaign, but because that person, doesn't need to know about the importance of getting pre-approved because they already are, it would just skip over it and continue with the rest of the campaign. So you do have silent hours as well. Again, you can put silent hours on the entire campaign so that you don't have to do that for every action if you wish to. So silent hours means that, between this time and this time, if a new lead gets assigned to this campaign, these actions will not run during this specific time that you've set. So let's just pretend it's 10:15 at night to 8:15 in the morning. Those are the silent hours. So if a lead is assigned to this, after this, like in between these hours, the first action won't happen till 8:16 in the morning. You also have the ability to execute actions on business days only. So if they do have, SMSs or things like that, where you just don't necessarily want to work that on the weekend if you don't want to, or deal with responses, you can make it so that those executions, so if it was supposed to technically go out on Sunday, it would just go out on the Monday instead. It just kind of pushes it to the next day. And so then we just save it from here. And this is where we're going to build out the campaign. Okay, so you do have all the emails. If you are on the branded site, you guys do have all the emails in there. And so basically you just hit the plus sign here and then you just click on email. Then the email templates are here. So if you guys are creating emails, you're going to do that over here in the settings in the email where you can create the templates. So in this case, you have the buyer is the default. So you have here, this is the default buyer campaign. So all of those emails are already here. So if you were to select this first one, it's going to basically say good morning, afternoon, or whatever it is. And then your first name from, and you can change this, you don't have to. And I highly encourage you guys to change this. I'm not using it as it is because, well, these are old emails and you may want to interact and communicate with your leads or contacts differently how we are putting that together. And you'll see that through some of these emails that you see coming through. So I would edit some of this if you want to. You can change it. The campaign's just going to reflect on the site that they registered on, essentially. Now, this email is set to go out like 5 minutes after you assign somebody to this. So it really is under your discretion as to how you're going to formulate this question, this email, and are you going to have that go out 5 minutes after? So again, if you're doing this for somebody that you've already got on the automated lead gen system, you know that they've already got an account activation email right away and they've got listings. So if you're going to triple it up with another email, you may want to push this so it's 1 day later that this starts. Or just avoid this first email altogether, entirely up to you because they're getting the text message, right? So you can also combine the two campaigns together if you guys wanted to. Now, when you do have this here, you do again have the options here. So who this email is coming from. So in most cases, it is from the main agent assigned to the lead, but depending on how your team structure is, some of you may have mortgage agents in your system. Some of them may have, the listing agent, somebody with access to that lead. So, but in majority of cases, it's just coming from the main person assigned to that lead. And then this is where you'd have stopping clauses, right? So again, this email will not go out, let's say, if the pipeline is moved to try to contact, because you know that SMS delivered, right? So if this is on try to contact, if your lead is on try to contact, you know that SMS message that went out 5 minutes, it delivered. And so maybe we don't want this because then we're not sending this email if we've already sent essentially the same thing, but in a text format. And then you would delay this. So if you basically the delay period is how long after this person gets added to this campaign is this email going to go out. So if you are doing this in conjunction with the lead gen website, then I would do this going out like, you know, schedule it to go out even 7 minutes after you assign somebody to this. If you're doing an auto assignment, that way it gives the system to determine if that text message goes out and or if it, actually we're going to go made contact as well. On that, because again, if they responded to the text, we also don't want this email to go out. So again, you add the lead to the email. It's going to be automated. So if they're also getting the auto text, you're going to want to delay this at least 7 minutes so that that text message that goes out 5 minutes after, this will not go out if that text message delivers or if the person responds and you make contact with that lead. We don't need to put silent hours on this one because the entire campaign we put silent hours on. Then you just save it. You can always edit these emails afterward as well. So if you guys edit these, again, these are the short codes. They are case sensitive. So if you tweak this and you put a lowercase n in there, it'll go out saying hi first name. Okay, so just be very cautious of that, but definitely you can tweak it to suit yourself and how you'd like to communicate with these people. So typically then you would have the second email. Now the second email is basically just making sure that they got the listings. Now there's nothing wrong with that, right? So you can again change what this says. Subject should be, in essence, something that you feel would encourage somebody to actually open up that email, right? So consider yourself. People get a lot of emails, right? Yours has to stand out somewhat in order to get them to actually open and see what that email is about. So this here is good to go out even if you have talked to the person, in my opinion, because it's just an email that is essentially just confirming that they got the listings okay. Now you could have, even if you wanted to swap this out for an SMS message, even if you're able to, because really it's just making sure that they got the listing. So in this case, I wouldn't have a stopping clause, because even if I might want to tweak this so that it's relevant to somebody that I also spoke to or somebody that I didn't speak to, but I would still want it to go out even if I spoke to you, because it's just confirming that they got the email, the listings okay, right? So I leave that. And this one here, so this campaign as is very tight campaign. Each action is going out every single day. So this here is typically 1 day from that. So the delay period after the first one is always after the previous action. So how long after this email will this email go out? And so it's 1 day. You can change that. So I do encourage, depending, like this one here, in essence, is a good one to go out the following day because you're just making sure that they got the listings. But the other ones, you may want to space them out a little bit because you don't want to be too aggressive, especially if you guys are doing the lead gen and they're getting the daily emails from you. You may want to, you know, loosen it up. So, because again, you're going to be calling these people on top of these emails, right? So leave it under your discretion, but you don't want to ever have your lead feeling like you're spamming them and you're just, you know, sometimes it's just too much. So once we do that, we're going to again add another email. This email is going to be your better home search. Now, this is one where I 100% encourage you guys to tweak this email. Everywhere, every area, every market is different as to what a consumer would actually be looking for in, you know, the home that they're purchasing. You know, somebody looking in Vancouver versus somebody looking in Florida, what they look for in a house is going to be, you know, different. So definitely tweak this, make it sound like how you would actually communicate with someone 100%. And really this is just trying to get them to give you a little bit more criteria about their home search so that you can tweak the listings that are being sent to them. Now, again, if we've got this one here, we would probably want a stopping clause on this one with respect to their pipeline. So again, if we've made contact with these people, or set a meeting. Now, you know, maybe you've signed an agreement. Well, we'll put these all in just in case, but I don't think after 2 days you're out. You never know. So we'll just put those in there so that if anything goes, if basically you've moved the pipeline to make contact or further, then this email is not going to go out because you've likely spoke about this in your conversation, right? It's probably something that you discussed while you're talking to. If you feel like it's something that you wouldn't discuss on the first point of conversation, then by all means change those stopping clause in here. And then again, this one is supposed to be 1 day after the previous. So this is like a 7-day campaign or 6 or 7 day campaign where it's 1 email a day. So you may want to spread them out. Again, use it under your own discretion. You don't want to feel like you're spamming someone. And then we're going to go. So we're just going to keep building out. All the emails are here for you guys. You can edit them 100%. Your move-in timeline, this is another one. Again, we probably wouldn't want this to go out if we have made contact with these individuals, right? But because we probably would have asked them that, or we should be asking them their timelines. Again, everyone runs and operates their business differently as to what information they're able to grab on the first point of conversation with these leads. So if you feel like this is something that you don't ask in the initial conversation, make sure you adjust the pipeline status is that it's not a stopping clause, but you still want this to go out regardless of that, and kind of go, you know, the timeline, right? We're looking for timelines in here. And so then again, this is going to be another 1 day. We are working on creating these campaigns for the system, like a variety of different campaigns that will automatically be in here. But because this is one that I commonly see people use, but in the legacy, I'm just showing you guys how to do it in here instead. So once we've got that move-in timeline email, we are going to do the touch base, right? So this is like, I haven't heard from you. So definitely we don't want this to go out if we've made contact with someone. This is one where I really enjoy the fact that it is, we'll just use that one, garbage, is that there's a stopping clause, because it does seem pretty silly if this goes out and you just spoke to somebody a couple days ago, right? Again, 1 day, don't need the silent hours because the silent hours are on the entire campaign. Now, you may want to choose if this one goes out, I have not heard back from you. Again, tweaking these emails to suit how you run your business and how you communicate with individuals and so on. We also have the enjoying the listings. This one doesn't have any short code. So if you feel like you need that short code, just if you don't remember it right from here, just pull up another one and copy it and have it in a notepad. You also have the ability to edit these emails prior to this. So if you wanted to edit them, again, they're all in the email under the email template section. So you can definitely edit all of these emails prior to, and in some cases, you might create different campaigns using those same emails. So on. So you're not having to recreate or re-edit those emails every single time. You just edit the one time. Now, again, we have the stopping clauses. So this one here, dwelling listings from our, so again, this is just a follow-up. So this again is just 1 day, and we will have the stopping clause. Because again, this is only like, what, 5 days after the lead comes in. So this is more or less for somebody that we haven't made contact with in here. And then there's the, are you still looking? Right, so again, I might want to tweak this, like, are you still looking at home or what have you? So again, it's just basically saying, I haven't been able to get a hold of you. Do you want to still receive those listings? And kind of go from there. Now, yeah, enjoying the listings. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't add another one. Cancel, discard. And are you still looking? And again, we're going to have the stopping clauses on here. And this again is 1 day. Now, you can definitely, you know, tweak this, as I mentioned, to spread these out a little bit, because you should be calling your lead every other day, right? So if you do it so that it's kind of in conjunction with, okay, well, this day I'm calling, then this day is an email, this day I call, and the next day is an email. So you can, you know, coordinate yourself that way. You can also include some auto text in here. So you can edit it after and add an action between these two if you wanted to. It's not what you see isn't what you're stuck with. So you can always continue to build these out if you wish to. You may want it so that at this point, because this is again the final email, that maybe after this you move them to a different campaign that's maybe a little bit more spread out. So it might be like once a week emails versus once a day, and then you might want to assign it again to another campaign. So once you have, so for example, if you have a campaign already started, you would select which campaign you're assigning to. So after however many days, I'm just going to add them to just this one, for example. And then it won't assign them to this campaign if we've made contact with them or moved further. Or maybe we want it so, maybe we want it so that even if we have made contact, because this is just a generalized buyer, just some information from time to time. So again, just you know, under your own discretion, would you want them to move to another campaign or not? And then again, after this action, how long would you move them to that campaign? And so maybe in this case, you know, 4 days after, you want them to go on to the new campaign instead. Okay, and they could be on multiple campaigns. So they can be on this campaign, then you can build this one anyway. So it just keeps going and going and going in here. Now you can have this as automatic assignment. So if you guys are on the automated system, you can make it so that incoming leads from your lead gen website or from whatever source that they're coming in are automatically thrown onto this campaign. So you would just do that, whether it's one or multiples, you just select which ones you want. So if they come in from any of these sources, they would be automatically assigned to this campaign. So you don't have to actually go in and do it yourself manually. Now, some of the benefits of using this system is, one, those stopping clauses. They do help you out just by doing that. But also in the home screen, you're actually able to look up the people. So let's say I want to pull up all my leads that are still on new lead, not set, or tried to contact, meaning I haven't made contact with them yet. So when we apply this filter, I can then take all these leads and set them up on that campaign. So I can mass assign them to that campaign that I just created. Where did I put it? New buyer lead campaign. There it is. So you can actually assign it to 80 people all at the same time to kind of help you with your follow-up. Now you can also search, because it is part of the campaign, you can also search for people in here that are on specific campaigns. So if I want to pull, has none of this selected, so that you're not setting somebody up on a campaign again that they're already on, has none selected, has any, or has all. Those are your 3 options there. And then we want everyone that is like, you know, has none, that's not on that buyer campaign, which of course is all 80 of these people. So if I wanted to mass assign them all to that campaign, I can go in here and do that. And then when I go done, I'll just refresh this. Now, one thing I do with the short codes in the system, because they're older ones, some of the short code may or may not work. Just depends on what it is. So you can always look at the email prior to it going out. But again, if that's where you're going to edit those emails prior to as well. Now we can see that there's now only 14 people in here that aren't on that campaign, and now we are at 0 because now all those 80 people have been assigned to that buyer campaign. So I'm going to remove that filter, and we're going to be able to see, if I look at my lead right here and I go to the email campaigns, I can see that I've been added to that buyer campaign. Now with this one, I just want to point this out because this has happened to some individuals. If I click source on this campaign, it'll force all the actions at once. So that lead would get every single email, those 7 emails or however many were there, all at once. So if you are wanting to force, because you can force specific actions. So if I wanted this one to go out right away, I can. So I can force that email to go out right away in here. If I look into the email, wherever it is, let me just refresh this. That email should go out. Might not because of this silly email address, but it should force it out. So it'll force that email to go. Oh, I canceled it. Why did I cancel it? Why did it cancel on me? It's not supposed to cancel, just so you guys know. I'm not sure why it canceled. Yes. Force action. Yes. Not sure why this is happening, guys, but it's because I'm on a webinar that it is, of course. It should have just said sent. It should have just said that it was forced. It just went out. Let's see if I can force this one to go out or if it's going to do the same thing. See, that one there worked. So I'm not sure why this one didn't work, but this one did work. So it was executed. We can see that it was executed. The other benefit of using this system is that you're going to be able to see when it was actually scheduled for. So you can kind of watch that. If you're using the legacy, you cannot see that. Also, if you're using the legacy, you cannot preview the email. You can't edit the email here, but you can preview it so that you can see if you want to stop that email. Maybe I want to stop that one instead. I don't want it to go out for this specific person. So you do have those options. Does anyone have any questions surrounding the campaign execution, editing, campaigns, emails, anything like that in here? Most of you should have the ability to talk. So if you want to talk, you can. Or if you feel more, better using the chat or the Q&A, by all means, you can use those as well. But basically, as is, how I built that campaign is how it would be if you were using that legacy campaign. So it goes out every single day, once a day. Gail Andrews, that's great, awesome. Now, one thing I do want to mention to you guys when you are sending out emails or creating email campaigns and editing those, whether it's one that's already there or you're creating your own email templates, keep them short and simple and to the point. Right? If you're sitting there drafting an email for, 45 minutes and it's like, 3 paragraphs long, most people aren't going to read that, and it doesn't seem like it's a realistic, like you actually just sent them that email. People can start to identify that this is like a newsletter kind of email, that sort of thing, so that, yeah, they're less likely. But if it's simple, like short, couple, like how you would like check in on a friend or whatever, you like, it's almost like an extended text message. It seems more realistic, like, hey, Crystal, I just, tried calling you a few times, haven't been able to get a hold of you, just wanted to follow up, see if there's anything I can do to help you at this time, whatever. Yes.
Question, sorry, Crystal.
Sure.
So
No worries.
if I have the campaigns, so I've still got some that were on that old campaign, which you said is, dated, and I should be, and I haven't got through clearing everybody off yet. So if I update the buyer campaign emails now, would they reflect that in the emails that are going out, or do I have to start over?
You would have to start over. Like the system wouldn't be able to tell that they're already like partway through that.
So once they're updated, it doesn't update an existing campaign?
No, unfortunately not. So once they're added to a campaign, even if you update it, but those campaigns, like I mentioned to you, they're all they're dated.
I gotta fix them. Yeah.
Well, they're dated, but they're also, it's like a 6-7 day campaign, right? So it's not even that, like a lot of them the campaigns might have been stopped anyway. But what you would have to unfortunately do it manually. Like what I would do is like go in and.
So once 7 days are over, they're done anyway then.
Yeah, once they're already over. So it would only be for any new leads that you may have added to that campaign that you would want to do this for.
Okay.
Because you would just go in, you can stop the existing one, add the new campaign, and then just stop the actions that have already kind of went out for that individual, if that makes sense. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions about that, about the email campaigns or auto assignments or anything along those lines? Or is there something completely different that you want to know in here? Like, as I said, we will be building campaigns in here for you guys. We just have to, you know, implement and modify them all and so on and so forth. Do you guys tend to have a list of campaigns that you feel would be beneficial to have created in here, that you feel like you would use, that you probably may want to tweak them, but yeah, as long as, you know, they're there essentially for you to utilize, that you could just utilize them and then do the tweaking afterwards and modifications. So some of what we were thinking is we do have like the, you know, the existing ones, the buyers, but we're tweaking the emails. We have one as well that is more or less for older leads, essentially, that it may start off like kind of like in the beginning, but really tapers off. So it's like a once a month kind of, you know, check in. It kind of starts, you know, a little bit more frequently, and then it kind of, the frequency of the emails and the follow-ups just tends to decrease over time in there. We are also thinking of doing one that would be like for pre-construction one. What other ones would you guys find useful? Would you find first-time buyer campaigns? Would something like that be beneficial to you guys? Or seller campaigns? You guys don't want campaigns?
What about an investor campaign? Because I have a couple that are straight investors and I'm never really sure what to send them.
Okay, so investor campaign, okay. That would be a good one, because there is a lot of those out there, or they're just looking at investments and things that may help them make decisions, or, you know, increase their confidence in you as their agent, of course. Yeah, so buyer, pre-construction, first-time buyer, obviously some seller campaigns. That could be, you know, for active, you know, it could be even like a post CMA, and then also one that's for like somebody that requested a home evaluation, but then just like disappeared off the face of the earth. For those that go MIA. Anything else from anyone else in here? That's just some campaigns that may benefit, or if they were already there, it'd make your job a little bit easier with your follow-ups. We could create we could create some like checklist campaigns, which would be like action plans for you guys. So like when you get a listing or the property sells, like it's just basically a task campaign. It would still require you guys, and every team kind of, you know, there's the foundation of what and when, but everyone operates a little bit differently. So, and again, the only thing that I don't like about having a task campaign is you have to action your tasks and you have to mark them as complete. Otherwise, you will have hundreds of tasks in your system that appear to be incomplete. And then your good leads in the mix could get lost if you have tasks on them, because there's just too many tasks to comprehend. So those are, you know, those are the e-campaigns. So we will start where, you know, it'll be a little bit of a process of putting it together, you know, grabbing some content and finding, you know, things that would be relative to, you know, helping you guys nurture these leads, essentially, whether they're being nurtured short-term or long-term. Any other features in the system that you guys would benefit from? There is some that in here I've pointed out before that may be beneficial. You do have the ability to filter your leads based on their buying city, buying price, and buying home type. So a lot of times I'll see, again, with the tags, I'll see people tagging their leads, you know, semi-detached or detached or condo or whatever it may be that they're throwing on there. there is actually a filter for that. So I always try to encourage you guys, you know, minimal filters that are used, you know, for your own knowledge on things. The rest should have to do with the lead and their situations and things like that, and kind of guiding you through the follow-up. So when there's a filter or a space in the CRM system for information, use that space rather than always counting on tags. And the real reason on that is you can't have 2 tag filters. So I can't say they have this tag but not this tag. So if you're using tags for everything, it's going to make it really difficult to really create these audiences for you. So you do have a buying city one. So if you wanted to pull up everyone that's currently receiving listings in a certain area, you can definitely do so. There's 36 people looking in here in Toronto. You can then narrow it down as well. So if you wanted to pull up everyone that's in Toronto that's looking for a certain property type, you can do that as well. So maybe I want to pull up everyone that's looking at receiving detached listings. So there's 19 of them. You can then also do it by price point. So if you want, based on when you're doing the buying price, you have either a range equal to or greater than or equal to or less than. So when you do a range, for example, if I did a range of, let's say, 850,000 in here and then to 950,000, this has to just fall within their search in some level or what have you. So the 850 might actually be the maximum of their search, and the 950 might actually be the minimum of their search, or could they be falling anywhere in between here? They might be at 900,000, right? So their search falls within these 2 numbers, whether it's the lower end or the upper end. So when we apply this filter, I don't know how many people will be here. There's 10 people that fall within this criteria. So you can see his minimum is 950, which this was the maximum here. Then this guy is up to 1.3 from 650. So he definitely falls anywhere in here. So this is good if you guys are doing any kind of direct marketing with respect to maybe an open house that's happening, whether it's in person or on a virtual open house. You know, these are the 10 people that would be most likely interested for your open house for a detached place in Toronto, because this is what they're currently receiving from you. It's also great as well when you have coming soon properties, right? Or you just listed it. These are the ones that are going to be most likely to engage with respect to that information. So you can get creative with this. You don't need to add tags as far as property types, because we do have those filters that are in here. And of course you can save these. So what I do for some of it when we're going on it through a training is, I wonder if I have it already. No, so I'll save it as like either open house / new listing, and then just create it. That way, whenever you're needing to modify that, the filter's already there. You're just changing the price point, changing the location, or adding locations, or changing or adding the property type. And then once you do that, so if let's say I wanted to change this from Toronto to Mississauga instead, I would just hit apply. And then it's going to give me, okay, so I've only got one person that's currently looking in this price point for detached in Mississauga. So you can play around with it. So that's a cool filter that is useful for you guys to find specific people, or really be able to market your upcoming listings or open houses or things like that. Tagging your leads, again, I always encourage that for everyone in here. It's just really going to help you identify who a lead is without having to fully jump into their account and read all your notes. And you can filter your leads based on tags. So the great thing about these filters, and if you guys have leads in your system, and if you have some time, just sit there and just go through each filter and see what it does, like when you're kind of playing around with it and how the numbers are tweaking, because you can sit there and stack these filters to create a very specific audience for you guys. So if, you know, whatever it may be, whether it's based on motivation or, you know, specific tags that they have creating, that you've created for some sort of campaign that you're running or what have you. But the tags are a great way to do that. And so you do have the filtering option with the tag. You do have 4 options here. So often I use any, just because depending on how many tags, they can have any of those tags. whether they have one tag, two of those tags. It just really depends on what you're focusing on. And especially if you're only selecting one tag, just do any. Now, if you have all, that means they have to have all the tags. So if let's say, well, I'll take this one off. I'll just add a couple of these here. So if I did all, that means they have to have all these tags, which no one has all those tags. Let's just see what I can find here. It's finding the conjunction of which ones they would actually have on them. Okay, there's only one tag here, but this is all the tags. So they have this tag, so they all have that first-time buyer tag on them, but they can have other tags as well. It's just they have to have that tag. Or if I want all my leads that don't have that tag on them, and you can amass the sign tags if you need to, because maybe you have one that's in conjunction to a campaign that you're running, you can obviously find those people and add a tag to them after you add that campaign, whatever suits you guys best. You also will have any, meaning that they can have any of the tags, right? So it doesn't matter if they have one or two or all of them. They just have to have at least one of them. And then only selected, meaning that only the leads that only have this tag. They can't have any other tags applied to them. It would just be this one tag that they have, which clearly there is no one in here with respect to that. So those are like your filters. Like, as I said, just go through, play with the filters, because there is definitely a lot that you can achieve in here using filters, different aspects like that, the timelines as well. So some of you guys may not know where you're going to find these timelines. So on the lead itself, you do have the ability to write down here where you have this buying in, where you can select an option, as well as a selling in as well. You can, of course, filter your leads based on those timelines. So you can create audiences based on those motivations. So somebody that's planning to move in the next 3 months, they require a lot more attention from you than somebody that's planning to move in 2 years, right? So you do have the buying timeline filter right here. And you can select. So if I wanted to pull up all my people that are planning to move now within the next 0 to 3 months, I've got 7 people in here that need my, you know, they're my top priority leads, essentially, based on those timelines and what have you. So that's another cool feature that I like in here. You do have the ability, of course, to do a lot of mass actions in here. So when you can use mass actions, they're a great way to also follow up with people, you know, through an SMS. It cuts down likely having to do it individually one by one. Now, if you guys are sending a mass SMS, one thing I do highly encourage is that you will give yourself enough time for the responses. So I think so many people have done it, including myself, where they're like, I'm going to send this off to like 400 people, and then not thinking about the responses that they're going to get and the time it'll take to respond to all those responses. So always start off small and then kind of increase from there. But always remember, so don't do it like, you know, when you're like about to walk out the door, I gotta leave, I'm just gonna send a mass text because I gotta go. You're gonna get responses. So you have to give yourself the opportunity to be able to respond to those. So any questions? I feel like we're gonna wrap this up here. Is there any questions that you guys have with respect to the campaigns, the system, anything that you may be struggling with, or just have a general question on as far as practice goes or things like that? No? You're all good? So this video, so if you guys need to watch it again, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I don't know when that will happen. It'll either, well, Alma here, she's great at doing all that stuff for her. So she's usually the one doing all that. So you can expect it there. But of course, if you guys are part of our Facebook group, then it will be in the video section on there that you can watch it over and over again. And then if you guys need any additional training or help, I know I've posted before in the link if you guys want that training. If you've already had training, then you are definitely going to reach out to your trainer, especially if it was recent training. Oops, that's not the one I wanted to. And then if you haven't had training or it's been a long time since you've had training, then by all means, schedule yourself in. So I'm just going to put that in here in the chat here. So if anyone needs to, take advantage of that and book something in, they can teach you. So if you guys are looking to do something specific in your CRM, or you just need that extra one-on-one help with regard to setting up campaigns, things like that, then by all means. What I encourage you guys, if you are setting up campaigns and you guys are second guessing yourself, you're just not 100% sure if it is set up the way it should be, then by all means, just let us know, whether it is, myself or a support team or your trainer. We will jump in and take a look at your campaign to make sure that it will run smoothly and that it's, good to go, just so that no one wants to run a campaign and then have it like muck up on them. You can also add yourself to a campaign first so that you know that every action you're getting before somebody else would, so you can tweak that email. Again, it won't tweak it after the fact, but you can stop that email and manually send it if you had to. But thank you all for watching. If you guys need anything, by all means, you can totally reach out. Support is always there to help. We do have our, up here in the question mark, again, for some of you know this, some of you don't know this, I'd just like to reiterate, there's a lot of videos in here. So this question mark does change, right? So right now I'm on the main screen. So it starts off by, having a couple videos in there, and then it goes into anything that you really see on this screen and how to access or do different things. Now, as you maneuver through the system, so it doesn't matter where I go, let's just go to lead types, this video is going to change. So here, there's one video because it's pretty straightforward to how to add a lead type, but it'll always change reflective of where you're currently sitting in the CRM system. So if you're kind of playing around, going through things, most of them are very short, so 2 to 5 minutes, short and sweet and to the point. But if you do need any help, or if you can't find a video, do tell us, because if you can't find it, others probably can't find it, or it doesn't exist and we need to create it. So thank you guys all for watching and participating. If you have any direct needs as mentioned, or any topics that you guys really feel like you need more focus on, just let me know. That way I can kind of develop something for you guys to kind of create that foundation, that flow and structure, and so on and so forth. You all have a wonderful Monday, and we will see you again on Friday.